you know, you see this pot being made right now, which is Bernie Sanders. It's almost the perfect storm for him to a degree.
It's 60% in the Democratic are for either cares or is honest, and only 40% is for electable or experienced.
Right.
That's not good news for her.
Right.
It's good news for Bernie Sanders.
The ideological shift also. Look,
That's
the Republicans are searching for their soul and where their party should plant its flag. You have to know where you want to go before you can pick who you want to lead you there. Look at the Democrats. Bill Clinton became president of the United States challenging the liberals in his party, right? We're too beholden to the unions. We're too beholden to Jesse Jackson. We need to be more centrist. We need to be more moderate. That was Bill Clinton's formula for election. Hillary Clinton is running in a campaign in which 40% of the Democrats say, great, we love Barack Obama, we've had him for 2 years, but we want to go more to the left. Well, and that's a fascinating dynamic. The Democratic Party is moving more left, and she's competing with a challenger she underestimated who's going to keep tugging her left as we go on.
Well, also the generational divide within the Democratic Party. That woman who Jeff Zeleny is following, who was at our town hall, I remember she was talking about her 5 daughters, stepdaughters and daughters. If memory serves me correct, they were all voting for Bernie Sanders and were in fact trying to convince their mom to vote for Sanders, and that was part of her question. And that's what we saw in Iowa. Younger females went overwhelmingly for Sanders.
Younger people are more liberal, just in general, and I think that's always been the case.
But this generational divide is very...
But generational divide and among young females, the idea. I mean, Hillary Clinton's talking about breaking the glass ceiling.
Right.
That's not a message which seems to be registering with this generation of young females.
Right. It seems to, first of all, these numbers, I believe, really look good for Bernie Sanders, as we've all said. But I think it reinforces 2 things we've talked about. One is, I hate to use the word shakeup, but there's something about Bernie's message that is resonating, and her message, it appears, clearly is not, which gets back to something I said earlier. You cannot just excuse Bernie's looks like a good showing in New Hampshire because he happened to come from the state next door. He is speaking to middle-class people and their values, and he cares about them. He comes across as authentic, and it's working, and she's not meeting the mark.
The question is, though, come Nevada, come South Carolina, and if it goes for Hillary Clinton, are people going to be arguing the exact opposite?
Exactly.
Than we're saying tonight?
Everything on paper tells you advantage Clinton when you move on, because she has historical relationships with the African-American community. She has historic relationships with the Latino community. She did very well with those constituencies until Obama became viable in 2008. Once the African-American candidate became viable in 2008 by winning, well, then it shifted. But she has the relationships, no question. And Bernie Sanders, just because he's from Vermont, it's not his fault. He's never had to compete for those votes, and he's trying very hard now to catch up. The question is, how big is the margin tonight? Because then I do think if Bernie wins a convincing victory, Senator Sanders, I should say, if he wins this convincing victory in New Hampshire, people will give him another look. Even people who think I was for Clinton, they'll stop for a moment of pause and he'll get a look. And the question is, can he then take advantage of that? That's the challenge for him. We've been talking about, has Clinton not adapted to this campaign? Well, if Bernie wins big tonight, he's going to have to adapt too, to try to take advantage of that.
She will, even if she goes down by 15 or 20 points, she still will be the strong front runner for the Democratic Party to get the nomination. What this is doing is it's raising questions about her general electability in a campaign you would normally assume if she's running against a Cruz or a Trump or someone like that, she would win decisively. Yeah. That's it. That's increasingly in play now.
But as somebody who's worked on more Democratic campaigns than probably all of us combined, because I'm old, but there's no question there's a very healthy, very strong, very vibrant, liberal, progressive base within the Democratic Party.
It's stronger than it was.
And often that base is told to wait, hold on, help is on the way. And what you see in Sanders' campaign, especially the people who are managing the campaign, and the message is that we want to move the future faster and farther. Now. Right. But look,
there's no
buyer's remorse.
As a Republican watching this go on the Democratic side, the longer that Bernie Sanders stays in the race, the better it is for us, because when in a general election, we can say, look, we got criticized for calling President Obama a socialist. You have a real live one right there that also beat Hillary Clinton for the nomination.
Well, that way nobody pays attention to what's going on in the Republican Party, which, by the way, is having its own issues.
We got to take a break here. There's breaking news, a troubling new assessment of where ISIS is likely to attempt an attack.